Check, 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 check. What is up, crew? Welcome, 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 welcome.
Woo!
What's up, AC?
What's up, gang?
Let's do a little sound check with the crew. Can you hear us both? We all
Check, check.
good? Drop some ladders or some couple mores. Crew.
Very
Yes.
giant.
Nice. Man, shit, bro. It's been a minute. How you been?
I'm good, man. You know, a lot's happened over the past year. Just had a baby like a little over a month ago. That's the biggest
Congratulations.
thing by far. Thank you, man. Thank you. You know, we just been. I'm same as you. Just been streaming.
Yeah,
Just been
man. There's really not as many people as I thought that were gonna jump on it, but you definitely spearheaded that shit and are killing it over there.
it's
Um,
it takes a lot of work and a lot of dedication and discipline to like keep up. You like have the craziest schedule, you keep up with it. That's like a lot of work. People don't know that, obviously we have other parts of our lives that we need to take care of. And it's like, I don't know, something about doing the streams is just super fun and it makes you want to stick to it, especially like everyone that's locked in. It's like, it just makes it so much fun to be able to like hang out with everyone. Makes it worth it.
so you do 3 streams a week?
I do Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, all at 4 p.m. Pacific time.
Yeah, that's. I think that's what Twitch. That's what they keep telling me they want me to do is the 3 streams. So I've always kind of tried to stick to that, and man, it is a lot, especially if you're editing stuff and putting it up, or having guests, or you do one today. You did demo days, right? Is the demo days
Mm-hmm.
is Wednesdays? What are the other
Mm-hmm.
2 shows that you do?
So Wednesday, I do I call it demo mix sessions where I I get a ton of demos because of Nightbase. So I go through all the demos I got in the past week. Usually get between like 80 and 100, and I listen to all of them, and I pick my 10 favorite, and then I do a DJ set, and then just kind of like do the set. Everyone talks about the tunes. A lot of the artists are in there, and then afterwards we kind of just chat and listen to the tunes again. And yeah, it's cool just to hang out. And then Friday I do call it weekend warm up, where I just kind of start with like lately you just start with like disco house and then like funky stuff and tech house, and then just get heavier and heavier. And then the past like couple months just been ending with some D&B, just having fun.
Hell
And
yeah.
then Sundays, all like UKG, like garage music, garage music, grime, bassline, that kind of stuff. It's just really fun. Also starts out chill and just kind of escalates as we go.
So usually what we do on here, first, welcome and thank you for coming through, and the crew really appreciates it. We
Absolutely.
usually kind of start with a little history. So let us know where the roots of you getting into music and DJing and even production. So like, how did your introduction to rave music happen?
Um, so I grew up like in the middle of nowhere. I grew up in like West Virginia, around like a college town. WVU is. So there wasn't much going on. It's like hillbilly land. So, there was a lot of kind of outside influence with like college students and stuff. But I grew up like I was just like a huge music head like all my life from when I was a kid. My dad's a musician, and like I,
What does your dad do?
he plays like bass, everything, guitar,
Oh shit,
um,
no shit.
just like all through the years, different. Like when I was a kid, he was in a jazz band and stuff. So it was like a bit deeper, jazz, not EDM like us. But yeah, so he always had music around, and I would like he had like a huge closet full of records, and I would just pick the coolest like looking cover and listen to it and just discover all kinds of weird shit. And yeah, I mean, I was just like really into hip hop, punk, anything extreme, and then I discovered like electronic music, like through like that first wave of like MTV, like Chemical Brothers, Prodigy, like early '90s, mid '90s, and then I got into like remember Herb magazine for
Yep.
old heads. It's like a dance music magazine. in America, one of the only ones that, and like Accelerator magazine. And so I would get those religiously. But I didn't know that really like that raves existed. Like I didn't know that was a thing. And I found a record shop in my town that had like house music and jungle and all this stuff. I didn't know there was raves, but then when I was like 18, someone took me to a rave and it was like, oh, this all makes sense. Like that's why this music exists. That's why the records are so long and have intros that you can mix and all that kind of stuff. So it was like I just went nuts from there. Yeah, just dove head first. And I had been making music since I was like probably 14 or 15. I got like a drum machine for like Christmas and then like a sampler for my birthday or whatever. And me and my friend would just make weird music. And yeah, just kind of built from, it's before the internet was robust enough to like have YouTube and shit like that. So it was just like trial and error and learning from other people that I encountered and, just picking up knowledge and learning shit.
So how did you
Crazy.
get into like what was your first DJ gig? Like how did you get into DJing?
My first like real DJ gig was uh I was a happy hardcore DJ. And or like I would mix like jungle and hardcore. So like this was like 99, so long ago.
Do you
So
remember
fucking
Entropy?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was my shit. It was just because I was like I wasn't fully into happy hardcore, but how he played it with jungle, like I loved that shit.
Yeah. That was like a thing that some people did and it was like, yeah, it was really exciting. And yeah, so I played a show called Everyone Gets Laid uh in Pittsburgh that this DJ called Demofo through, and it was like on a campground outside of Pittsburgh, and there was like 3 or 4 stages, and the stage I was playing on. So basically, all the stages went down because they're using like generators. So it was my turn to play, and the only stage that actually had power was my stage, the stage that I was playing. So I have my giant bag of vinyls or whatever, and I'm like drunk, and I'm like a teenager, and I was like dragging them over to the stage, and there's so many people there, and it's like my first gig, and it was like, let's fucking go, and just like it was like a weird thing that happened that just worked out so well. So my first gig, because of some crazy freak accidents of not having power at the other stages, my little tiny stage was pretty packed for that time period um, in rave history. It was like a few hundred people, but for me, first gig it was like insane and out
That's
in the woods.
amazing.
And yeah, it was cool. And that I just fell in love with it after that.
So have you always been AC Slater or did you have any other DJ names before that?
I never had another DJ name. It was kind of a joke. It's like I have like a love-hate relationship with the name because basically it came from like when I was younger and I would meet people. I had a lot of friends named Aaron, so we all got called different things. So I just called AC is just my initials. So people say, "Oh, it's AC," and then everyone would always go, "Oh, like AC Slater from Saved by the Bell." And then when it came time to have a when it came time to have a DJ name, I was like, as a joke, like AC Slater, and it kind of like I kind of hated it for years, but I just stuck to it, and just all through the genres and everything, I just stuck to it. I don't know why, and now it's kind of my goal was always to reclaim that name as me first and the character from the 90s or 80s show second. And I feel like because that show is so old that and I've been around for so long now that it kind of started to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like some people don't even know what that show is because
Yeah,
that show was
I think that you've achieved that for sure.
and Mario Lopez followed me on Twitter for a while.
Oh shit.
And I got mad and I was like, wait, he doesn't follow me anymore. Like, what the hell?
You know what's funny is this I know this crazy kid that I grew up with. He might even be watching, but my boy Neil sent me this. He used to send me wild random Craigslist ads and shit. And one of them was he's like, "I want to come over and take an AC Slater at your house." And do you know what that is when someone takes an AC Slater?
Oh, I'm pretty sure I know what that is. Yeah.
Where he grabs the toilet from the back, like he's sitting on the
Yeah.
chair. I don't even know if anyone's gonna get that, but
I've heard of that. Yeah, yeah.
I didn't think anyone heard of
Never
that. I
done
thought that
it.
was crazy. That sounds like a wild thing to do. I don't know why anyone would do.
I do that at every venue that I play
Oh man, I know what some of those bathrooms look like. I won't even do it the regular way.
at.
Did you end up in was Brooklyn next, or where'd you go after?
Yeah, so I moved. Man, I this is like so rusty. I haven't talked about this for a while, so it's kind of nice to revisit. Yeah, so doing the happy hardcore thing, we started like a crew called American Cheese that was like Midwest, like Ohio, Pennsylvania, kind of area where we would throw parties and stuff. Um, I moved to Philly, and then in like 99 or 2000, and started a happy hardcore label, like first American to start a happy hardcore label. So it was a vinyl label.
Shit, I didn't know
Um,
that.
it was called Pitched Up Recordings. Um, that went on for years, and I, did a lot of stuff with that. Um, it was fun, but you know, after Philly, I moved to New York, and then I just kind of got burned out on the hardcore stuff because I was getting a bit older. I was like, in my mid 20s or whatever, and it was like the kids are super young, and it was like the music never changes. Like I just personally got burnt out on it, doing the same thing over and over. And while I was in Brooklyn, it was like the whole blog thing was happening. And I don't know if people on that are watching like were around back then, probably not, but like in 2005, 2006, music was like heavily discovered on like blogs. So like each blog would have like a specialty and curate. It would show you music, and people would learn so much new music from there. So it was like this exciting time where, especially in New York, like you
New
were
York
there. It
was
was like
bumping then. New York was
it
bumping
was
then.
insane. So like I was really into this crew called Trouble and Bass, and like Fool's Gold was about to start up, and like I was in this, or I was about to be in this crew, Palms Out, which was like a really cool blog, and they threw events.
Was Palms
They
Out
kind
was
of,
before Trouble and Bass?
yeah,
Because
because
I think I remember I met you right around then, and then like soon after you started fucking with Trouble and Bass like heavy.
yeah, so I was like really into all that stuff, but like I remember a specific incident where I was like playing at what's that venue in Greenpoint? Oh, that like Russian venue.
The I know what you're talking about. The
Like
big
a
huge
big,
club.
yeah,
Fucking,
I forget.
I'll
Someone
remember.
from some old person from Brooklyn helped us, but I was playing a happy hardcore show there, and it was like fucking rammed, and I was like DJing. I was like looking at my shitty flip phone, like I think I was texting like Just Jubilee or something, and I was like, "Where are you? What's going on?" And she was at like a Trouble and Bass, and I was like, "I want to be there instead of here." And then like it just clicked that I was like, I like that music, and I'd already started making that kind of music, like bass heavy house tempo kind of stuff, and just I don't know. I just decided after that night, like I'm gonna start doing this, and just made so much music. Sent it out to blogs via MySpace. Um, so this is like a time warp. Um, but yeah, so Halden from Palms Out posted like 4 of my tunes, and basically how those blogs worked was like people would take your music and give it away for free, and like link to your MySpace and be like, "This is AC Slater. He lives in Brooklyn. Blah blah blah." And that was pretty much it. And then it would like pop off because that's where everyone went for music. Like literally, like thousands of people. You know what I mean? Would like go and download music from there before like Spotify and all that kind of
It was
shit.
like the underground Napster almost, of where it was just like that's where, yeah, that was where basically even all the record companies were getting shook because they're like, oh shit, these people are giving out music for free. And I think we
Yeah,
talked about this when someone was on, but Fool's Gold gave out that Kid Cudi record, the remix, the Day and Night Crookers bought, and like that just kind of changed the game where they're like, oh shit, we sold more records because we gave this out for free than if like more people found out about it. And it just kind of was just a crazy time changing timestamp of music in general.
absolutely. And Yeah, so I started putting music out on blogs. I had a day job where I was doing like web development or whatever, and I hated it. And I would just be like, man, I don't want to come in this same fucking loft every day for like the next 20 years. You know, I was just like, man, let's make this music thing happen. And I started getting tons of remix requests and getting releases, and it was like all happening really fast. And like I quit my job, and it was so scary. And a lot of people like dropped the line, and like Lauren Flax, who had like recently quit their jobs, were like, just go for it. It's scary, but like just do it. And like
Hell yeah.
it was so worth it. And it just, I remember like I worked in like on 23rd in Madison, like by Madison Square Park, and I would go out for lunch, and I would see like Armin van Helden like walking around in the middle of the day, like doing whatever the fuck he wanted, and seeing people like eating brunch on like a Wednesday, and I was like, man, like I want to be able to do whatever I want because you know what I'm saying? Like I'm my own boss and I can do all this. So it was just like a big dream. So it was when I finally quit, it was sick. And then Palms Out started booking me, and then I after the set, I played this set. It was at Hugs. Remember Hugs in Brooklyn?
Yeah. I think
There's
that
no
was the
back.
first time I played with you. You and Jake, I played there with our friends, famous friends party.
Famous Friends, yeah. So, oh, Club Exit was the name of that place.
Club Exit. That's what the name of it. Yeah, it was.
Anyway, yeah. So I walked off. I was a big fan of this crew called Trouble and Bass, and like I walked off. There's no backstage or anything. You literally walk off the front of the stage and then into the crowd, and just like it's a long dark room. And Luke dropped the line, Star Eyes, who's doing amazing podcast and all kinds of cool shit now, and the captain, Patrick, they were just standing there, like in front of me, and I was like, oh, I go to their parties all the time, like cool. And Luca was like, yo, that was really sick, like you can mix, and like the music was sick and all this stuff. And then we just kind of clicked, and like eventually they just kind of like, do you want to be in the crew? And it was like, yeah, and it just worked from there. And it was like, yeah, it was awesome. And that whole time period from like '06 to like 2000, even like, yeah, 2009, 2010, like if you were in Brooklyn or like downtown Manhattan, like you would go to like, you could go to like 10 parties a night, and it would be like A-Track and everybody here, like whatever, like all these different groups, like Trouble and Bass
1990
here.
party, 1993 party, and like all that. Like
Yeah.
shit was
Holy Ghost
crazy.
here, like this person here. And it was like indie rock mixing with dance music. And it was like, it was such an exciting time. And like when it was happening, I was like, this is like a special time, and I'm gonna like fucking enjoy it. And like I was like aware that it was cool, but now when I look back, I'm like, we really lived through some cool, like legendary shit. Like I would like hold that up there with like, I don't know, like certain other time periods, like in New York, the beat poets and fucking all that shit. It sounds so
Yeah.
corny, or
Nah, you're right.
like uh whatever those like 80s venues were in like downtown and all that shit, where it's like there was a moment of culture like building. We were like bringing dance music to like mainstream culture, or like, you know what I mean? Because it was so uncool before that. Like it wasn't us, it was happening all over, like London, LA, of course, but we just happened to be in New York. And it was just like such a cool moment. And like whenever I see like, you know, someone like you, or you see like A-Track or anyone who was there, it's just like you always have that bond because you were there and you were young, like putting everything together and making it up as you go along. And it was like all those people are still doing it, you know? And it went from like us doing local shows to like everyone started disappearing because they started touring around the world and stuff. And it was like, yo, this is cool. This is fucking cool, man.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. I love that. That was pre Williamsburg, before all the fucking or high rises and luxury apartments and all that. And I remember just slowly, we used to always DJ on my roof, and every year there'd be a couple more, and watch the fireworks from up there. And every year there'd be a couple more, and pretty soon you couldn't see the fireworks anymore. And it was like, man, Brooklyn's changing. And then everybody moved.
Couple
Like
more crew.
mad people moved. Everyone just moved. And then I was
Yeah.
like, shit, I should move to LA, and I didn't. But
You're holding strong, bro.
until the pandemic. Now
Yeah.
I went back up. I got a house up in Rochester, and like,
Oh, back, yeah, ground zero.
well, I was like, for the same price as having a apartment with, I was living with, and
No way.
fucking, yeah, and
Uh,
like in Williamsburg, and we all have tiny little bedrooms in this tiny little apartment for the same price. I have a 2-story house and a big ass garage and a big ass driveway and backyard, and so I was like, fuck it, I'll come up here for a minute. But now I'm trying to figure out if I'm gonna go back to New York or LA.
how did you
So
stream in the tiny apartment?
I was streaming from my girl's apartment. So
Okay.
so got COVID real bad right in the beginning, and I was coming back from tour, or no, I was coming back from a show. Instead of going home, I went to my girl's, and then next thing you know, everything got shut down. All the shows got shut down. It was right before Miami, and I was just like, what the fuck? So for like a month, was just sitting there like freaking out, like what am I gonna do? And then I found out homie had COVID, and it was like not going away. So I just didn't go back for months. And then eventually, someone brought me a setup and dropped it off at my girl's, and I set it up in her living room. And the first 4 months of streaming like was in her 1 bedroom apartment in with like a green plastic tablecloth as my green screen, and like in Union Square in like this 1 bedroom apart. Luckily, she was the shit and was just like, I just want to dance, just fucking DJ all the time. I was like, yeah,
She hooked it
perfect.
up. She hooked it up, man.
Yeah, I don't know where I would be, and then eventually I bounced out around August. I came up here, but
Wow.
wild times, man. So,
Yeah.
so, what year did you go to LA?
Uh, I want to say, I think 2000, the end of 2011.
Okay, and then so how far when the night base ended up coming up? So like maybe tell us a little bit how you went from, or where the idea came from and inspiration, and how that all just turned into this mega monster, awesome thing.
Um, Night Base came from, like, now that I think about it, like from frustration, because I was like, you got to remember, like in 2011, 2012, this is like the peak of like cheesy EDM, or like the EDM rush, where it was like every DJ that had a following was like getting courted by these giant companies. And it was just a really weird time where it was like our lives were so underground and different. And then suddenly it was like, hey, like some of my friends are like celebrities now. And it's like, they're millionaires. And I'm like, what is going on? And it was like, everyone was kind of confused about what to do. And at that time, I happened to be kind of a bit like confused as well musically, and a little bit lost musically. So I was kind of just putting out tunes, and I wasn't loving, and it was working. Like I had like a career, and I was playing shows, but like, it was like nothing. I didn't really fit anywhere. I remember my agent at the time, Denise, who was like amazing,
Shout
and
out
just like
Denise.
made so much happen for me, especially night bass. Like he was like, all right, I got you this festival, but it's like I didn't fit on like the dubstep stage. I didn't fit on the house stage, and I didn't fit on any other stage. There was no night bass kind of sound. There was no house with like balls. There was no, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Bass
yeah.
house or anything. So I just didn't fit, and I'd end up on these horrible, like I'd be on like a dubstep stage playing like like house tempo music, you know, and like Fidget Days. Little Sus says, absolutely, what's up? She was there, and like I just like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. I was in LA, and something that sparked. I had an idea where I was like, I kind of want to start a party, because I was really into like UK. I've always been into UK music. Like happy hardcore is like a UK genre. My whole life, I've always been into UK stuff. Dubstep through like Trouble and Bass, but like original dubstep and grime and all of that stuff, and garage, and like I dabbled in that, but I really loved like the bass house that was happening in that era, 2012 or whatever, when I moved to LA, and like Gorgon, Lorenzo was just starting. There's a couple people like that just doing really cool bass house stuff that was like garage bass lines and like house. I don't know, it's cool. and I went to Dim Studios, and in the small room, Pi from Oregon City was playing a set, but it wasn't on the stage. It was like in the back of the room, turned around, and there was no lights, and it was all like kind of bass house. Remember like FOMO stuff that he
Yeah,
used to
yeah,
make?
yeah.
It was like that, and I was like, "This is the music I like," and I was like, "Yo, this is sick." I like that it's dark because at that time, every show in LA is like a movie. Like there's just like $100,000 production with like visuals and crazy shit and all that stuff. And I was like, that's not me. Like I didn't want to do that. And people standing on the tables and all that stuff. And that just inspired me. I was like, all right, there's people here and they like it. So I'm gonna try to do it. So I had hit up Dim Mak. And also I'd started dating Susie at the time, who's my wife now and my baby mama.
Oh
And
shit.
she was like, I kept talking about this idea and she was like, just do it, just do it. So I told Denise, I was like, I want to do it at Dim Mak because I like that room. We went to Dim Mak and they were like, that's cool, but like, why don't we do it at Sound? So they like were kind of suggested Sound and they kind of latched onto the project with me to help me promote it. We did the first one in January 30th or January 31st, 2014, um, at Sound with Christian Martin headlining. And it was like, it ended up being great, sold out. And like the vibes, it was just so different than like a lot of stuff that was going on because it was like, it wasn't like really purist house, like you had a warehouse or techno, but it wasn't like screaming EDM. You know what I mean? It was like cool, bassy house music. And I was like, this is great. So then after that, we brought Taiki, then Shifky, then Lorenzo, basically all the people you love now, like one after another for the first time ever in America. And everyone was like, who the fuck is this? Like, don't do it, don't do it. You know what I mean? And
Hell
like,
yeah.
it just worked and it built like a family. And I was like, there's so much to talk about with Night Base because like my vision was like I would order tape packs from the UK, so you get this basically a plastic case full of 12 tapes or so, like cassette tapes that they would record the entire night. They would record every set, and I would buy them and I listened to them when I was a kid, and you hear the crowd screaming and the reloads and all that shit, and I'd be like, I want to be there. So I kind of was like, that sounds like the dopest community. So I kind of wanted to create that, which was missing at the time, like a community, because everyone was money grabbing. So I was like, let's build a community. Someone's gonna want it. So after the first couple shows, I was like, these kids want this. Like, there's other people that want something different, and it just grew from there. And then I was recording all the sets with the crowd, influenced by those tape packs that I grew up listening to, and that really spread it. So like all those packs really spread like all over the world, the country, and it just grew, man. And then a year later, I started the label. Yeah, it just blew up.
See, I don't know if I realized that the party started first, but I remember I was in LA for something and I had the next day off and it was the first night I think Phlegmatic played at Sound and I was just like, what the fuck is this shit? Like it was one of the craziest and most energy I've ever seen. At that time I was just like, there's definitely nothing else like this. And they were even DJing looking at each other like, holy shit, we can't believe how crazy this shit is. Like everyone was just like, wow. And you're just like, man, I want to play a night bass party. And then everyone's like, I want to play a night bass party. And then fucking man. And so
Imagine,
you basically took that and started doing it everywhere.
yeah, because like everyone started being like, I would tour, and I would play a song like there's certain songs you play at Sound, and the crowd reacts always in the same way. Like there's certain songs where they do the ooh, ooh,
Yeah.
and then there's like certain songs where they say I don't know. It's like it's cool culture. So on the tape packs, you would hear that. So I would go to like Toronto and play one of those songs, and the crowd would do that because they heard it on the tape pack, and I was like, and then kids would be like, "Come do a night bass here, come do a night bass here," and I was like, "All right," like we started doing that, one by one. And you've done a bunch of the like we did summer phases, which was like a summer tour where we would do like it started off with 8, then it was like 12, then it was like 20, it was like too many shows, but you did a bunch of those, I think. Yeah, man, it's I wanted it to be like a culture and a movement, not just like a cool party or a cool label. I wanted it to be like something that people trusted. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why I was like booking like Heike and New Light or like Lorenzo or like even like EZ, who's like in the UK. Like people grew up listening to him on the radio and at clubs and all that stuff. He had never been to America. No one here knows who he is. And like I booked him and like and sound, that was the first year. And like sound, of course, was like, I don't know, like they want to sell tickets and they don't know who any of these people are and they don't know who I am. And they it took a while for them to like trust me. Now they're like family and they trust anything we do. So but at first there was like resistance, you know what I mean? It was like, who? Every time. And I'm like, trust me.
I,
EZ slam. It's like people going crazy. Like
I love that shit. It worked. That's the whole. That I mean, that's a great lesson too. Is like when if you have a vision of what you want to do, you just got to do it. Like and figure out how to do it. And if there's a will, there's a way. And man, you really, really put night bass and that sound and your own sound and everything like right on the map. Um,
yeah. I
so
will
you,
say like, you know, some people are a lot of people are like you with music, outsiders who don't know like an artist's trajectory, like people look at me like I'm like new or something, or you know, you see someone pop get a little bit of like shine or like success, and then it's like they think they're new, and like I didn't just like make up some idea and do it and it worked. It was like, you know, I started DJing like I said in 1999, and like the first gig even before that, you know, and then it takes a whole life of like figuring out what you want. Maybe it takes people not as long as me, but like going having making those mistakes, kind of like going in the wrong direction, then going back and trying something else, and then just honing in on what you want, and then maturing as an artist, and then getting a vision that actually is complete, and having enough failures to where you know what mistakes not to make, and all that shit is like, I don't know. I see people getting frustrated because they try something once, you know what I mean? But it's like having a music career isn't just about making music. It's about like having the thick skin to be able to like fucking lose and like come back and like Craze. I remember a long time ago, Craze told me like any music career, no matter who you are, it's like up and down all the time. And like there's always going to be those people that are always going to be people around when you're up, but the ones who are with you when you're down is like they're always going to be there for you no matter what. And those are the ones you could trust to, you know, that are always around you. And but yeah, my point is like don't get frustrated if you fail, because that's what music career is like
a lot of
failing and
yeah, a lot of
getting
it.
back up. I grew up skateboarding and like I started skating again, but it's a great analogy where it's like skateboarders don't just like you don't just give up, you keep fucking trying. And that's kind of like in the music career you have to have that mentality, because like yeah, it's like some people get lucky, you know what I mean, and like just jump you have a great career and whatever, but to really be fulfilled and to really take a chance to make it, it takes some time, man, and some heartache, you know,
And some
rejection.
balls, like you're saying, just quitting your job and being like, I'm going to do that. And that was, way before Night Base started and way before touring around the world and all that shit. So it's just like being relentless and believing in what you're doing and just never giving up. And I, uh, I think to quote Jess Jubilee, I feel like she was the one who said, "Yeah, you're just a lifer. Like you're all like we're lifers. We're always going to be DJing, like or involved in making music or throwing parties or something, like no matter how many phases that we've been through." Um, shit,
Yeah.
man. Well, you've produced records with all kinds of people. So if you could pick someone that you haven't worked with, who would be like your dream producer or artist or rapper, singer, whatever that you would want to do a record with?
Tyler the Creator.
Oh shit.
He's like a huge fan. Like he's just like a genius and no bullshit and just like talking about being real and being yourself and all that. Like he's like the epitome of that. I think it would be cool to work with him for sure.
Hell yeah, that would be fucking sick. Shit, man. What do you got coming up? So obviously, these streams have been going off, and now shows kind of are coming back. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. You
Yeah.
got any kind of cool stuff to announce, or you got shows to promote, or let us know a little bit what's going on for AC Slater in this post is it post pandemic? Almost post pandemic.
Yeah, we're almost post pandemic. Um, I got my first show in like over a year at Time Nightclub on Friday, but
Oh shit.
it's like a socially distanced thing. Um, but then so that should be cool. I know some people from my little night base crew are going.
Where's time?
Oh, sorry, that's in Orange County at
Okay,
Costa
cool.
Mesa.
Hell yeah.
And then at the end of the month, Memorial Day weekend, there's a Sunset Music Festival. We're doing a night base stage, which was planned over a year ago. That was supposed to happen last year. That kept getting pushed back. It's now happening at the end of the month, and it's like the absolute sickest stage. It's like me, Lorenzo back to back, Wax, like it's a bunch of back to backs, Pikey, all kinds of people. It's gonna be crazy. So that's gonna be like the first real, and that's like Florida. It's gonna be like, packed and crazy, and everyone's fucking vaxxed, and it's like, it'll be cool. I'm very excited to just kind of be around a crowd and meet all these people from, Twitch and Discord that are gonna be there, and like, I'm stoked. But then, yeah, a couple more things. Literally, like the past week or two, I've been booking a lot of shows for this year, so a lot of cool stuff coming up that I can't really talk about yet, but
Fuck
very
man.
soon.
Exciting.
Yeah, man.
That's it's like I don't think, especially us, we've never really paused from DJing in a really long time, and then all of a sudden it's just like, boom, nothing, completely
Bro.
not. You can't even leave your house, but like
Yeah.
literally nothing. You're definitely not playing shows, and then look at you. You corner an artist or a creative person, and I'm in a fucking. We built a pretty much a TV station with I
Yo,
got like
look, this
light,
is
light,
my
light.
this is my DJ table. When I'm streaming, this is what I'm standing behind that you guys don't see. Got the little monitors here. But this thing, I built this thing during COVID. It's on like sliders, so I can like I slide it into place. It's like so nuts. Like I basically built, like you said, like a fucking TV studio. It's so crazy. So
Well,
crazy.
so you're a pretty handy man then.
I guess I'm pretty handy. Yeah.
I always say I'm not the best carpenter, but I'm not the worst carpenter. But
Yeah. I wish I had like a house. I live in an apartment. I wish I had a house so I could do like projects because I want to like build stuff. Like I really enjoy that, but I just don't have any place to do that.
so are you planning on staying in LA for a bit, or is that a goal sometime to get the house and get out
I
of
would
the
like to get a
city?
house in LA someday. That would be cool. I just really like it here. Pretty chill. Um, yo, but you made me think of something, man. Like with stopping touring and being stuck at home and kind of quarantining and all that. Like once the Twitch thing came into play, I was like, when you're on tour, like as an artist, like for me at least, like with my label, you have a label too, and you're a producer too, so it's the same thing probably. But like, I kind of like when I'm on tour, I kind of have an agenda where I'm like, I want to push in my set like certain songs from my label, my own music. You know what I mean? So you kind of have this like evolving set that changes a little bit every night, but it's pretty similar. But like when you're on Twitch, it's the same audience every time, more or less. And you're like, all right, I can't just play the same shit over and over. So I really had to like dive deep into digging for music every week. And I also just doing that and like having to DJ for like 3-4 hours at a time, it made me fall in love with DJing again. Cause I feel like I've always, in the recent years, I've been like a producer that goes on tour DJing and plays DJ sets. But I kind of fell in love with just mixing and selecting and finding new music and finding old music. And I'm so excited to go back out and play now that I have that like love back.
Hell yeah.
Um, you know what I'm saying? And I bet the same thing happened to you, but you've always kind of been a DJ anyway, like you scratch and everything.
Man, well, the biggest thing for me was that all of my records I've been paying like $200 a month almost the whole time I've lived in Brooklyn to store my records in
Oh, no
storage.
shit.
So like minus a few years where I had a big place at some point in time in Brooklyn, but for the last at least 8 9 years they've been in storage, and every once in a while I'll try to go in and to sample some, but I never play them. And I'm like, why the fuck am I spending all this money on? Because it's basically like, you when you used to buy, especially because you would buy UK records too. UK import records would be like $9.99,
Well, bucks, yeah.
$10.99
Yeah.
for a single record, sometimes only
Yeah.
one-sided. And like, so I'm like, okay, so I spent all this money on these records growing up, and then I'm basically paying a percentage still. It's almost like, now I think about it, it's almost like cryptocurrency. Like I just had like these records in cold storage, and then all of a sudden the pandemic happens, and I'm like, I moved, and until I moved and I got to the place that I am now, and I'm like, man, it just hit me like a ton of bricks when I was like, this is why I've saved and held on to my records for so many years, because they're like memories. And like when I was going through them, I'd pull them out of the sleeve. Even before I would play it, I knew what it sounded like. I might not even know the name of it. Just by looking at the record sleeve, I'd know what it sounds like. It would give me this memory of like where I played it, who would request it, and now I'm like sharing memories with these people that I just made friends with on Twitch during the most fucked up time of our lives. So it's like this connection that is just like, you just can't compare it to anything else. And that's why I started calling it vinyl therapy, because it was like, we're all going through some shit, and like my head's fucked up. I'm like, I don't know when I'm gonna ever DJ for real people again. I don't know if I'm gonna get COVID. So it was like therapy to like share these sounds, and it's like, man, this record, you don't know, this record is so fucking sick. I can't realize I forgot about this record. And you can hear most of the music I've made over the years. I've sampled some jungle record and put it in every single record I've ever made. There's a jungle sample of some sort in there.
Oh, I always notice that, man.
So like, I'm like, this is where this is from. This is where that's from. And so, yeah, so same thing for me, just like getting into it and sharing it. And man, your like you got the ladder crew, the couple more crew. So it's like, it's just a beautiful thing. And it wouldn't have happened if we didn't get cornered in such a fucked up ass time. So fucked up times make really dope art and really push creatives, I think, to do like, literally, we have TV. Our studios are now have TV stations. It's like, who would have thought we're using?
We took the time, and it's not for everyone. There's no one thing that everyone should do, but for us, I guess it was like nice to lean into some new thing and learn, and like just like put your energy into that, and
100%.
With the vinyl thing, man, like when you're talking about it, it just made me realize, like, when you listen to one of those vinyl, like most of those songs, like a lot of the songs, maybe they're digital now, but like most of those songs, like you can only hear on the vinyl that you have. And when you hear it for the first, like if you're doing a stream and you're playing those vinyls for the first time after years and years, each song, you've got like an instant memory from like some time, in your life when you had that record, or when you heard it, or when you played it, or you had a house party or whatever,
The funny thing is like, I forget my Facebook password, the password to get into my bank account, all this shit, but I remember every gunshot and every jungle record, like, and those records are like 10 minutes long. I know where each and all everything is, and it's like, man, I haven't heard this record in literally almost 20 years. How do I remember that? But that's why it's like, it's a part. Those records are like a part of who we are, and like, that's why we're still doing this shit.
One of my biggest regrets, like in my life, probably one of my only regrets in my real regrets in my life, was I had so many vinyls, like, big shelves of vinyls. And like, I had moved so much, like in New York. And every time you move in New York, it's like such a hassle. And then you got to lug like a ton, literally probably a ton of like heavy vinyls with you every fucking time, in like egg crates or whatever, and like milk crates. And then like, at one point I was living in like this like loft in Bushwick, and that like my friend had built shelves in the wall, so I had all my vinyl in there, and I was just like about to move, and I was like, man, I don't want to take this anymore. And everything was becoming like, that was CDs time period. And then MP3s were starting to come in a little bit, and Serato. And I was like, oh man, you know what? I just like told my friends, like, I'm moving, like, just come. I kept like a handful of like really important records for me, but then like, I just told people like, come take whatever you want. Because I didn't want to sell it because it's so much work. But it's the biggest regret of my life, because now I'm like, I found those old records that I kept, and I was like listening to them and looking at them, and it was just like deep, like happy memories and moments in my life. And I was like, certain ones that I used to have that I think about, I'm like, man, I really regret like getting rid of all those. Like, it was the worst thing I've ever done. Like, because you're right, it's like a piece of you almost, and all that work you put into getting them and all the memories.
Well, I
So I wish I
definitely
never did that.
spent like, man, I did the math on how much I spent over the years in storage, because some apartments I'd have some of them, and then eventually I had to get fucking store, and I spent a wild amount of money over the years that I'm just like, man, I could have bought a house or something like that. And so this was the only satisfaction I've gotten out of it. I've like fucked my back up. I've like moving from place to place. I probably moved 14 times over in the like 16 years that I lived in Brooklyn, and like every time it was like milk crate by milk crate by milk crate, up 4 flights of stairs, down 4 flights of stairs, and
Yeah.
like I was just like, yo, dude, why are you keeping your records? And it really literally didn't hit me until I set up my turntables here, and I played one of the tunes, and I was like, oh shit. And now but anyway,
Pays off.
crazy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah,
Well, let's
man.
let's before we wrap it up, let's see. Does the crew, you guys have any questions for this guy? Don't do the math.
Yo, concourse. Yeah, I'll take some 1200s. When I moved from Brooklyn to LA, I rented just a regular, like, shitty, like a minivan, and I got rid of all my shit. And Vivian Star Eyes like was like, I'll go across the country with you. And the day we got in the van, I sold my 1200s to some dude for like super cheap. And it was like another big regret. Like, now I'm like, I wish I had them, because it'd be so fun to like, do a set with like vinyls. I have some vinyls and stuff. But
You should
yeah,
just get
man,
another pair of decks, man.
probably
The
will one day.
You will,
Probably
you will. Then you're gonna start fucking, once you're retired and shit, and you're like not on the road. You're gonna start buying your records back one by one on eBay or some shit.
Oh, Udachi's in the chat.
Oh
New
shit!
York,
Shout
Staten
out to
Island,
Dachi.
OG, my fucking good friend. We he was a happy hardcore DJ with me. We made some music together. He's super talented. I think he has a track on an old Night Bass compilation. We did a party together in New York before I was like with Trouble and Bass or anything. And looking back, it's probably the most embarrassing party. Um, Greg, what was that party called? It was at Wicked Willie's in the Village.
I don't even remember Wicked Willies.
It's like a place where like singer songwriters like go play. You know what I mean? Like,
Man, I
it was
remember.
called.
I have a
Oh, it's called Old Rave. Old Rave.
Oh, right.
We played like Blog House and Electro and stuff. Oh
Man,
my god.
I remember going to one of the first Trouble and Bass parties I think I went to. Udachi was playing, and it was in the back of. It used to be Galapagos, and in the back, and he just had this big ass fucking set of hair and was just fucking bouncing all around, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And that was before I met, I think probably either one of you guys, but I don't. That's a fond memory, a Brooklyn memory. I used to live right over by there, so I used to go over to Galapagos all the time.
Legendary. Um, I have a memory that I thought of when we were talking before we came on. Speaking of Brooklyn, we used to always. I know you did this, but I I could be wrong, but tell me if I'm right. So we used to go fucking. I used to sticker everything. You would see like AC Slater stickers, Trouble and Bass stickers everywhere in New York. I just would go around all night for hours, like putting stickers up. And I know you did that too, right? And I remember I saw you one night out on the street or something, and you were like, I got arrested the other night or something. Did you get arrested? Because they
No,
were
I
like
did.
cracking down on
My
stickers.
boy did. My boy.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember he was walking down Bushwick Avenue? I'm pretty sure it was him. Was walking down Bushwick Avenue and was just put a sticker on like a telephone pole or like some sort of a light pole or something, and undercover like got out, jumped out of the fucking car and threw him in the back and put him in central booking for a couple days, and then
For
he just
sticker.
yeah, and he was just like, dude, it was some scary shit, and then they just let him go. There's nothing they could do. He had to wait till he seen the judge and they let him go. But those cops that used to drive around in like the undercover shit, they would just get out and just fuck people up for no
They're
reason.
mean.
So mean, and big ass fucking big thick Brooklyn accents, and like, I'll fucking crack your skull, and they're just like, oh shit. They all look like they're homies and shit.
Anyway, little memory I had. I remember seeing you out, and you were like, "Yeah, be careful, man."
Man, that I miss that so much because I would make tunes or make a mix or something, and I'd just listen to it, and I'd walk all through Brooklyn, walk over the bridge, and then walk all through the Lower East Side, and just fucking going through just mounds of stickers. I remember my ex-girlfriend, we were walking down Collins, and I always loved Armin van Helden. Like you were saying, he would just pop up everywhere in New York at one point in time. But this is before I've never like been cool with him or anything, but I always kind of idolized him. And she knew it, and she took, when I used to do the TADT shit, she took one of those stickers. He's like eating on Ocean Drive, and like went up and like put it on his back, and I was like, why did you do that? And you like just like, he's gonna hate me forever now. Like you just and after she was like, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. I was like, now it's funny, but like, man, it made me so sad. I was like, that dude probably is gonna hate me forever. That's like the
It'd be
whack.
funnier. It'd be funnier if you went and tried to like peel it off without him seeing, and he's like, "Yo, what the fuck are you doing, man?"
But I've met him
Why are
after
you
that,
touching
and
me?
he's been cool. But I think that
Yeah.
he's probably like, man, that's that kid that fucking his girlfriend put a fucking sticker on my back.
He's a legend, man.
He's a
He
shit.
doesn't give a shit, man.
Man, I don't think that I even looked at this. Did you guys ask questions? We started fucking yapping again.
Mhm.
Can AC? I already know a little about it, but can you talk about the high eight and the story behind it?
So when I was a kid, like, there's like a camera called High 8 camera, which is like it's like a little cassette. That's just the format High 8. Um, that's how it's spelled, like how I spelled the album. But I basically like from like 15, I had one of those cameras. So between like 15 to like, I mean, pretty much up until digital video was like a thing. Like probably till I was like mid 20s, I pretty much like videoed everything. So I was just like, I found the tapes, and I didn't have you could only watch them. There's not like a way to watch them without the video camera. So I bought a video camera off eBay for like $30. I started watching them. I have a box full of tapes, and they're all 2 hours long. So I just started going through them, and I was like, man, like I've literally been the same person since I was like 15. Like all the shit I'm saying, all the shit I'm doing, I'm just like more young and stupid about it. But like everything I was doing, I realized like my path was always there. And I was like, the whole concept for High 8 was like to look back and like just sort of like the intro track where Dread MC does the vocal, where it's like he does a little speech that we wrote. And it's like, I kind of just wanted to like, I think it's something that's lost nowadays, where you look back at the people that did shit before you that led to where you are. Like there's a lot of DJs and musicians and artists that like built everything but got no reward for it. You know what I'm saying? And like I think it's good to acknowledge that, and like acknowledge that music and those people. And like I don't know, it was just like something that's important to me, and I love looking back and like being grateful for things and all that stuff. So it was just a trip, like watching my life like on video. So then I took like clips from those videos and made little like online videos for like Instagram and stuff for each. Like if you listen to that album on Spotify, you know how you have like the little video I forget what they're called. Um, I have like
I know what you're
clips of
talking
me,
about. Yeah.
yeah, clips of me like as a kid, and like, even like there's like old hardcore raves and stuff like that from like early 2000s, 99, shit like that. So that's kind of the gist of it. Was like that history just made me think of like, paying homage to like all the founders of like what we do, because you know we're founding shit that maybe will be important to people later. They'll look back on it and be like, yo, that was great. But we didn't just make it up. We took it from someone else and changed it a little bit and made it our own. So that's
Yeah,
kind of what it's
it's
about.
always. It's just like, man, some of the samples that have been used and reused and sampled, and whether it's drum samples or vocal samples or fucking Lolita Holloway samples, like it's just
Yeah.
they evolve, and then it's like, oh shit, new generation, new generation. Um,
Leon, it might be online. My like Instagram, if you go way back, there's gonna be a clip for every song. The best one is Bad Behavior. So my friend who edited it, Drew Best, who does Eminent Visuals, he's sick. I gave him a ton of footage and I was like, use these clips. And for Bad Behavior, my tune with Chris Lorenzo and PVC, he put all this footage I had of like people fighting and shit, and it's like crazy. That shit popped off when I posted on Instagram. It's like so wild. I think they might have taken it down because it was like super violent. I don't
man,
know.
shout out Drew. Drew's a pioneer too. He's like the fucking smog
Yes,
dubstep, U.S. dubstep
Smog.
pioneer.
Yeah.
Shout out Drew.
Oh, Little Sus. PVC is killing it. Check him out. Like he has gone nowhere. He's like killing it right now. It's crazy. But yeah, Leon, dig deep in my Instagram feed. You'll find them from when High 8 came out. Like about 2 years ago. I would say like it came out September 2019, I think.
Apple Country says, when do we get an OG set from AC Slater? OG hardcore set from AC Slater.
Oh man, you know what? I would love to, but I don't have any of that music. Unfortunately, all the music I even made, I don't really have any of it. I don't know where it is. I have some vinyl, but nothing great. So I can't really do it. I don't even know where to get that music. I could probably find some.
Well, that's what we'll have to start a Find AC Slater Heavy Hardcore Fund.
Yeah, find my embarrassing music from 20 years ago.
Jupiter says, AC, you said you had a drum machine. Did you play drums growing up?
No, a drum machine is like a box that has drum sounds in it, and you program it. I've never played drums. I can't play any instruments. I have no musical talent. I can make noises though and put them together.
He said, I have no musical talent. Get the hell out of here, man. Shit. Well,
I can play the cowbell.
so how now the giant code sticker? Oh no, that's a different one.
How did me and 12 get so tight? I don't know, man. It's like my bro. Like when I first, not when I first came to LA, but when I first played a non-hardcore AC Slater set, back in those early days that me and Codes were talking about, like maybe 2007 or 8, I came to play. He threw a party in Orange County, and I stayed on his couch, and that's when we met. And he was doing a project called True Pseudo.
Shit, that's
Flinch,
when I met all those guys too.
like electro. And then just over the years, I always stayed with him in LA, and we just became tight. We just clicked. He's like my brother. And we lived in downtown LA he was my neighbor for 9 years.
Was it Trust? Was it Trust Party?
I think so.
Danny United would throw?
Think so.
I played that as that's how I was supposed to stay with Whiskey Pete. He's the one who introduced me to those guys. And then I just met him over the internet. He's like, oh, can I do some vocals let's do a track together. And then he was like, oh, you can't stay at my house after we already got there. So like Flinch was like, dude, just stay with me. And that's like one of my favorite people that I make music. Every time I go to LA, usually I go to OC for a couple days and go see like the OC crew. Um, but
Yeah, man. Whiskey Pete, OG.
uh, 12th signed the Smog contract with Distro with Seed in my living room on North Fifth Street. Fucking
Wow.
in the right before Williamsburg got really expensive. That was like the end of my. Pretty soon I was like, then I ended up in Bushwick and just further out. Now I'm in fucking Rochester, but
Sick. Andrew Lux, the voice on Ultra Hype. That's from like the song I did with Red Light a few years back. I think I'm not sure what that sample's from. It might have been a sample that Red Light put in. I can't remember. The G's sample is Gigs. Gigs is like the legendary. That's a legendary G's from Who's the Hardest, his first like big hit song. I just like cleaned it up so it could just trigger it. Yeah.
it's my damn birthday and I have a ladder tattoo. Hell yeah!
Wait, show us the ladder tattoo. We want to see it. Drop it in some Discord somewhere or something.
Happy birthday to Slave of Bass. Shit,
Yeah,
man.
Slave of Bass, happy birthday.
Fucking. Well, we should probably wrap it up pretty soon. You guys got any more questions before we get out of here?
Man, we should do a tune together. Bro, how's your label doing? I love the what's that song? I keep playing that one song with
Need
you.
Your Love.
Yeah. It's fire.
Thanks, man. I got to send you the new joints, but that
Yeah,
one,
please.
that was one of those things that we started years ago, and he kind of disappeared on me for a minute, and I'd be like, yo, this is fucking dope. Let's fucking finish it. And somehow we finished it over the pandemic. And you know how, I mean, you guys kept putting shit out right through the pandemic. We kind of slowed down a little bit because it was just like, you know, we were planning shows and was finally going to start doing holy moly parties and all this shit. And then it was just like, nope, no one's doing shit. So
I feel
just
like
starting to pick
because
it
you
back
did
up.
all these because you did all these streams, I feel like you're gonna come back like running. You know what I mean? Like it's like you never went away.
Man, the somehow everything worked itself out and shows just been coming in like crazy, and I'm fucking hyped. And
It's awesome.
and it's kind of like, to be honest, I think that we all needed a little bit of a break. Like
Yeah.
it was time to like take a break from being inside of a loud club, being in a green room, being around really awesome people, really sketchy people, like just around so many people. It was just like time to pause. So at first I was
Just
freaking
stop
out.
and breathe.
Man, I think it was a healthy thing. So I'm actually grateful for this wacky ass time.
But yeah, man, I just had to like, for me, like I can't sit still. I have to do something. So like when this shit went down last year, I just kept rolling with the label. You know, we kind of stepped it up a little bit in a lot of ways, and I have the best team. Like, it was great, man, and just like the best support and everything. It's been great. I
That
just don't
was
know how
one
many,
of my biggest records last year, was the So Damn Funky, which I don't know if it came out right before the pandemic or right after the pandemic. I think it was right before it happened.
I think right before maybe.
And I was just like, everything was just bubbling, and I was like, oh, dude, I have the most shows and the biggest shows in my life, and it's like,
Oh my
chill
god.
out. So I'm
Um,
hyped. I'm hyped to get back. I'm happy. Fucking, you're getting back to it too, man. And like the stream. So you're gonna keep doing the streams throughout
um,
all this stuff.
I'm trying to figure that out. Like, it's tough because now I'm like facing shows, and
And a
it's like how do I
baby.
keep this being going, baby? There's a lot because like before COVID, my touring and everything was like super hectic, and I was like pretty stressed about stuff all the time. And then it stopped, and then I created all this new shit to do. So now I have all of that, and then all of a sudden the shows are coming back, and then now I also have a baby to take care of. So it's like it went from like busy to like nothing to like three times as busy. You know what I'm saying? It's like kind of weird. Well, I'll have to figure it out, man. I might have to adjust the streaming a little bit to be on different days, or maybe one big stream. Or I want to try to figure out some creative ways
That's
to
what I'm
do it.
trying to figure out if I'm gonna have to do instead of 3 times a week, one or
it
twice. But I don't know. I don't know. I think that there's
it's
a lot of
important, I
potential.
think. It's important because we've both built like nice communities of people, and um, I want to keep it going for sure. I just got to figure out the right way, because I can't I can't kill myself and have a mental breakdown because of like trying to do everything. You know what I'm saying? And have
Totally,
a baby. Have a
totally,
baby.
totally. Well,
Um,
shit, man. Is there anything that you want to leave us with or push before we bounce up out of here?
I just saw Lil Sus was asking when Oppaden release is coming out on Nightbase. Like, is that what you mean? I guess so. I was just talking to her all day. We've been like getting these vocals for her release. That's gonna come out in June. I have so much great music. I'm just looking at the schedule here. So much good music coming out on Nightbase. I'm just gonna like plug it all because just to get
Plug
you
it,
guys
plug it, plug
excited.
it.
The next this week in 2 days we have the Blossom release. It's really good. Then after that we got MPH single. Then we have Starkey EP, which is fucking sick, like grime and bassline. Starkey's like a legend. Then MPH EP. Then Oppaden single. Then me and Clank have a single. Then Oppaden EP. Then a Clank EP. There's so much good stuff coming out. So um, that was just a bunch of exclusive info right there. But it's gonna be a great summer for music from us, from our end. And I'm also gonna bring a lot of cool people over for shows from the UK. All these people I just named, whenever those kind of travel restrictions are relaxed and everything. So there's gonna be a lot of cool shit happening, man.
Fuck yeah, man. I'm stoked to hear that. I didn't expect anything less either, and I think that we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and shows are slowly coming back, and eventually the borders will open. And I just seen some shit in Ohio. The Ohio governor is like giving away $1 million to people that have been vaccinated, like so they're doing everything in their power to get people to try and get through this shit. But
I got that shit as soon as I could. I was like, I just want to live my life, man. I don't,
I was hesitant at first, and then all of a sudden, a couple shows came in, and I was like, "Yo!" I called, and I got it the next day, and I was just like, I was actually kind of sick for the first shot. I was actually fucked up for a couple of days, but the second shot, I was fine. Like it didn't even like just hurt my arm a little bit. So it's like, man, when you weigh that to like not being able to smell or taste, or your lungs are fucked up for the rest of your life, it's like
yeah,
it
yeah,
just made
man.
sense.
We had just had the baby, and then I got my second shot after that, and then that was on a Thursday, and I was fine on Thursday, and then Friday, I woke up. Baby woke us up super early. Some shit went down. I had to go like do a bunch of shit at the hospital and all this stuff, and I was like, the side effects had hit me, and I was like super sore and tired, and I had developed a headache, and I'm like standing in there for hours, like in the doctor's office, like just trying to be like cool and appear calm for everyone because I was like super like tired from the shot. Then that was like all day. Came home, and I had already announced to everyone here that it was like my first stream back on Friday. So I was like,
Oh
I'm just
shit,
gonna do it, man. I just stand there and play music, bro. I thought I was gonna fucking faint the whole time. I was like, it was so rough. I was like, I ended up being sick, not sick, but just like run down for like 2 days. I think because I didn't rest. So I
dude, the
learned from that.
same exact shit happened to
You
me,
gotta
except
rest.
for
Yeah.
it was a Wednesday night, and I did an interview with, I think that might have been with CLB, and then I DJ'd after. He played a set, and I played after. So it was like a couple hours went by, and I was just like, "Yo, I'm gonna play for like an hour, and I'm done." And then I got raided by Craze, and then I got raided by Dirty Bird, and then I got raided by. It was like 6 different raids, and my legs were hurting. I was like, same thing. I thought I was gonna faint, and then once I got done, it was like 5 hours deep basically because it just every time I was gonna stop, we just get this big fat raid, And then I was fucked up for like 3 days. I was trying to go to bed and my head was ringing, and I was like, "Oh no, did I like break something by like taking the vaccine and not doing anything?" But
Yeah,
yeah, I feel
lesson
you.
for those out there who are gonna get it, rest. The second shot, just fucking set the next day aside to rest. Crazy.
I was drinking too, and I shouldn't have been drinking, and I my ears were ringing after, and I was like, "Fuck, I broke something."
I
But
broke
but
something.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm great, and
We're we're
we're
we're
vaxxed.
we're supercharged now, ready to go.
Well, shit,
Um,
man. Thanks so
well,
much for coming through. I appreciate what you do for the scene. You know what you've done for me, what you've done for really like everything, man. And I got mad respect for you, and keep doing it. I can't wait to see you on the road and give you a hug, bro.
oh man, I can't wait to hang out and like shoot the shit in person and like, bro, it's nothing, man. Like, I'm always here to support you. You're a good dude. You've been around forever, and like, thanks for having me. Thanks to everyone for like watching us talk.
Hell
It's
yeah.
pretty cool.
Go a little
Yeah,
back in time and shit. If we should do a tune sometime, overdue for sure.
let's do it, man. Let's do it. Oh yeah.
All right, brother. Who should we raid? Let's raid. Fuck
Yeah.
it. We should raid Craze. Um,
Craze. Every time I stream, Craze is like, it's either you or Craze, and I'm like, which one? Because I always raid you guys over and over. I'm like,
man, he stopped streaming for a minute, and then all of a sudden he came back and he streams every single time that I'm streaming now.
stay in
Like,
streaming.
well, shit, dude. Fucking big ups. Make sure you guys are following AC and Night Base and all the things.
Yeah.
And shit, we're gonna go raid Craze. Let's go drop some couple mores and some ladders
Oh yeah.
up
Yo,
in Crazy's
thanks,
show.
Odes. Thank you, bro. Thank you, chat.
Much love, man. I'll see you soon, somewhere soon, hopefully.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
All right, peace, everyone. Couple
All
more
right, bye.
crew. Shit. Thanks, brother.
Hell yeah.